So we back with another video, back to react, and we got 15 weird animals that give you chills. Now sometimes when I just think about this whole world and how these animals came about, I'll be like, how did this all coincide with each other? Well, we finna figure out about 15 of them. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell, and let's get it.
Chill. We gave it to you good the first time, and we're back to give it to you a second time. You wanted more weirdness from the animal kingdom? We're not here to disappoint. You won't believe some of the animals you're about to see, and we're certain that some of these fascinating creatures have never been seen before.
Is that a
Or
turkey?
maybe they have, in your nightmares, or maybe even just in your imagination. Either way, let your freak flag fly.
Whoa, what type of
These freaky
dinosaur?
animal friends from around the globe are really
Is that a
wild.
walking worm?
Here are 15 weird animals that will give you the chills, part 2.
One of only 2 venomous lizards in the entire world. The other one being its larger cousin, the Mexican beaded lizard.
Number 15. The hairy frogfish. For any muck diver, underwater photographer, or weird animal enthusiast, this creature is of particular interest. The hairy frogfish. It's not a frog, it is a fish. And why is it hairy? Its scientific name, Antenarius striatus, kinda says it all. Those little hairs you're seeing are in fact not hairs, but instead skin appendages like little antennas. They
It's
also
like a
have
water
giant
cat.
mouths capable of swallowing prey whole, even if they're twice the frogfish's size, making them stealth formidable predators. The hairy frogfish's rod is a modified first dorsal spine and movable like a lure. When the prey approaches the frogfish, it will move its lure to tempt it. If that doesn't work, the frogfish will gently
It's
crawl
like an
towards
underwater
its prey
yeti.
and carefully orient itself so it's facing its victim. And then snap, as soon as the prey is within one body length of the frogfish, it'll strike with lightning speed, called the striking zone. And the fact that hairy frogfish are great at camouflaging themselves, often mimicking the colors of the seaweed where they're found.
Just
And have
walking?
you ever seen a hairy frogfish move? Frogfish jump by sucking in water through the mouth and shooting it in airstreams behind them. They really are jet propelled. Now, let's
So
get
they
ready
sucked the
for
water in and
today's
farted it out?
discussion. Looks can be deceiving. When we come across an image like children
Why
kneeling
they about
beside
to touch
an
his
animal
butt?
that defies explanation, perhaps you're shocked or scared of the mystery creature being so close to the curious kid. And the biggest question is, what the heck is that animal? It's weird. Although little is known about this image, this child might not be in any danger. And this animal is actually a sculpture from an art exhibition in Germany. That's the crux of never judging a book by its cover. Is it a mutant version of an animal that we know exists, or is it a lifelike physical embodiment of an artist's imagination? Many artists use the grotesque found in nature to inspire great art, and maybe this little girl is just loving what she's seeing. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. In fact,
So if that's something that the
animals
artist was
evolve
trying to
constantly
figure
in
out
dynamic ways throughout
or
evolution
make,
because of small mutant variations
what was
in their
going
DNA.
through their head when
It
they
just
made
takes
this
time.
here?
Maybe there's a strange mutation in all of us.
Why he
You
got
might
his
think
butt
this
up?
curious child might just be looking at the future, which is enough to give anybody chills. You want to know a little secret? If you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you'll have superpowers for the rest of your life. So what are you waiting for? Time to fly. Number 14, the magnificent frigate bird. When you're this magnificent, you have multiple names. Iconic naturalist Charles Darwin called the magnificent frigate bird the condor of the oceans because of their exceptionally large wingspan, the largest wingspan to body weight ratio of any other bird alive. So not only are their flight patterns
Is his
absolutely
neck
epic,
swollen?
these birds can stay flying for days at a time and allow for unmatched aerial maneuverability. The Spanish would call them pirate birds and man-o'-wars because magnificent frigate birds are thieves. It's no problem for one of these pirate birds to swoop out of the sky and snatch prey from other unsuspecting birds. You better watch out for pirates in the ocean, this time from the sky. We're kidding, but not really. And they're located throughout the waters of America between northern Mexico
That
and
thing got a
Peru
balloon on
the
his neck.
Pacific
I wonder if it could
coast. You
just
can
float.
also see the magnificent frigate bird between Florida and southern Brazil along the Atlantic coast.
I'm gonna call it the balloon
So
bird.
getting a chance to see these chilling birds is actually quite easy. Any tourist traveling by water can look up to see many of these magnificent fish dancing and dipping through the sky. That's why they're magnificent. Number 13, King of the Wasps. Every year, we seem to be hearing about a new species of insect so big or so deadly, or maybe just plain
Yeah,
mean.
whatever happened to the killer
This
bees
one
that
is
came
no
over here
exception.
during the pandemic?
It's the mega extreme version from the
They just
Lorraine
died
family,
off?
or digger wasps. This new version is called the Megalera garuda, after an Indonesian icon, part human, part eagle, known as the king of birds in Hindu mythology. It's 2 inches of big bad
Damn, look at that
wasp,
thing's tongue.
black as night with sickle-shaped jaws. Will you be going outside to your garden knowing bees might be hunting close by? Don't worry, Megalera, aka the king of wasps, was found in Indonesia. And a live version of this queen of the wasps has yet to be found and only been discovered dead, so nothing is known about its biology or behavior. But we already know it is scary. And the males of the species are distinctly larger than the females, with jaws that are bigger. And not only are the jaws assumed to be used to crush prey like
So
the
wasps
delicious
is
dinner
like
that it
flying
is,
beetles,
it's
huh?
likely that the males hold the females with it when it's time to mate. But with a mouth like that, the other wasps aren't likely to object. Number 12. Headless chicken monster.
What?
Stoke researchers
How's
used
it alive?
state-of-the-art camera technology to detect this swimming sea psycho at a depth of about 9,800 feet below sea level.
Bro, what is
The
his feet
Headless
doing?
Chicken Monster. No, it's not a B-movie horror franchise, nor is it even a chicken. But it is a creature feature indeed.
This is
You'll
an
be
alien.
surprised to know that this monster is actually a sea cucumber. Scientists captured the footage of this bizarre, hen-like swimmer in the Southern Ocean near eastern Antarctica.
So
where
time
it's
out, you
never
put
been
this
seen
in
before.
vinegar, it turned into a pickle?
And for a monster, it's pretty small, maybe up to 8 inches. But unlike most sea cucumbers, the headless chicken monster has fins which allow it to swim upward to escape predators. While most types of sea cucumbers spend the majority of their time on the seabed, swimming sea cucumbers like the headless chicken monster, aka the swimming sea cucumber, land only to feed. Sea cucumbers are echinoderms, a family of invertebrate marine animals that include starfish and sea urchins, and you can find them close to the ocean floor feasting on algae. There are about 1,250 known species, some of which are harvested illegally because they're prized as delicacies, or in medicine. Number 11. The Io
What in the
caterpillar.
Ben 10 was that?
All of our green thumbs, pay attention. If the summertime has you spending more time outdoors, heed this warning. There's a common caterpillar crawling around vegetation with a sting that can take you down. And sadly, many people are very familiar with this green, creepy crawler critter known as the Io moth caterpillar. Thankfully, with their distinctive colorful
like a
markings,
cactus.
the Io caterpillar can be easily spotted. But if you do come in contact, the caterpillar is covered in spines that can break off and embed themselves in one's skin if it's handled. And the pain can last for some time after its exposure. If you're stung by a caterpillar, try a piece of packing tape and lightly press it on the area. Hopefully the spines will stick to the tape. Then just proceed with some gentle soap and water and hope for the pain to subside. You won't die though. However, you might have to spray your plants if these problematic caterpillars take
Sting
over.
me if you want to.
But best to know the risks before you even hit the garden,
Sayonara.
right? These caterpillars do
Say
eventually
goodbye.
become beautiful moths. Until then, look before you grab a branch. The caterpillars are pretty clever at blending into their environments. Number 10. Bird dung crab spider. Oh, the joys of being a creepy crawly with the added distinction of deliberately smelling like bird dung. And we'll say it so you don't have to. Kinda looks like a little turd, too. And they even weave white, wispy webs across the leaves they live on to further confuse and attract some other bugs to kill. The species of spider weaves simple inverted triangular-shaped webs across plant leaves and stems. When they do,
How would you want to
the
look
line the
like poop?
insects get stuck to breaks at the outer end and falls, causing the victim to hang vertically from the bird dung crab spider's little trap. And they also have great skills at customizing their little spider homes. They build a wee hut by bending blades of long, tall grass to create a safe hollow in which, attached by a sheet of white silk, leaves a small opening to safely stalk bug breakfast. And the smelly part of their defense, that poopy smell, is their special ingenious way of repelling birds or other insects from attacking.
Bro, what do you got on his
Smelling and
back?
looking like poop will universally keep most other creatures away. It brings out all the flies to the yard, however.
Oh, he's not that
But
smart. He can't
looking
even
like
get on
bird
his...
dung keeps these crab spiders out of the birds' beaks, and that's clever. Number 9. The shoebill. That goofy-looking bill on the face of that scary bird may look like a cruel joke of evolution, but it's actually a lethal tool
Bro,
belonging to the
is that
shoebill.
real?
Although they're no danger to humans, they're not to be played with. These apex predator birds do prefer
Bro, this is
bigger
a
prey.
dinosaur.
They eat big fish like lungfish, eels, and catfish, and also crazy stuff like Nile monitor lizards, snakes, and baby crocodiles.
Nigga, Daffy
You
Duck
don't
is
want a
real.
shoebill gaze staring into your soul as it takes a bite, but since it's only found in tropical Africa, you'll likely never run into this big-eyed, big-beaked stranger. They
Do it fly?
also behave in a strange fashion by defecating on their own legs. But believe it or not, there's a science to this behavior. As with other birds, the waste is
So
mostly
it's
liquid,
huge.
and heat from
Why
warm
would
blood
big bird
passing
just
through the
boop
poopy
boop on
legs is
itself?
used to evaporate the liquid waste, resulting
You find a nice little
cooler
bathroom and
blood
go over there.
circulating through the rest of the animal. And it's a fascinating process to researchers too. It's impossible not to be impressed. Shoebills have been a beloved species for a long time. They appear in ancient Egyptian art, and Arabs call the stork Abu Markab, which means father of a slipper. The bill is gigantic, looks like footwear, and can decapitate crocodiles.
See, that's where we got the
Number
Popeye's chicken from.
Vampire deer. Back in 1948, a Danish expedition was passing through Afghanistan when they came across this. It might look like a vampire deer, but it's not. And it's also not going to suck your blood and possibly serve you forward to a life of blood-sucking immortality. Known locally as the Kashmir musk deer, it hadn't been seen since the Danish
Bro, what be
expedition
the
over
point of
60
deer?
years ago. Until recently, a study from the Wildlife Conservation Society confirms that the deer is still alive in the region, and researchers reported 5 sightings. Like antlers and the usual deer we're used to, musk deer's fangs are mostly used as weapons by competing males vying for territories and access to breeding females.
So they say, yo, we're not
Not
going
to
to give him
serve the
antlers. We're just
lust-filled
going to put
forces
him in
of
his
an evil
mouth.
vampire deer legion, and they're typically quite small, growing to about 2 to 3 feet high. Big teeth with little bite, and most are actually pretty secretive, which makes them even more desirable to exotic animal hunters. Musk deer in
So these is what the
particular are
saber-tooth
heavily
involved
targeted
into,
by
okay.
poachers for their musk glands, which are used in perfume, alternative medicine, and worth several times its own weight in gold. Number 7.
Why is
Mexican
bro chewing
mole
like
lizard.
that?
These are creatures that have the body of a worm but the legs of an amphibian. Though it looks like a combination of a lizard and an earthworm, the Mexican mole lizard actually belongs to a completely different species, Amphisbaenians. These little guys are pretty defenseless, however, although scary looking. Unfortunately, there isn't much known about what predators the Mexican mole lizard has, but they are known to be pests in the areas that they live in, eating anything that it comes into contact with. Its blunt head allows it to burrow quickly into sandy soils of Mexico and California. The mole lizard's forelegs are strong and paddle-like, while the hind legs
I got
have
a different
disappeared,
name for that
leaving
lizard.
behind only vestigial bones that are more or less useless. Its
Weird.
skin has a corrugated appearance, and like earthworms, it can help move smoothly through the soil. But Mexican mole lizards were born to burrow, meaning they live underground. Whenever they're above ground, it's usually caused by torrential downpours.
So this is where the
which force
Alaskan
them out of the
bullworm
ground.
came from, huh?
It
On
explains why
SpongeBob?
they're so fair-skinned. Since they spend so much time hiding below the surface, they lack melanin, which explains their light pinkish color. Number 6.
He ain't black at
Horsehair
all.
worms. After developing for several months inside its host, these worms take over their host bodies. Wait, it gets worse. Then, using mind control, they kill their host from the inside out, then escape through holes bored in their host body. Like something out of an alien movie, this creature is called a horsehair worm, and the kind of insects a horsehair worm might invade is a cricket or a fish, and here's how. All across the world, in rivers or streams, horsehair worm eggs hatch as larvae. Then they just settle at the bottom and wait to be eaten.
I'm not
Unable to
going in
swim,
another
larvae
river or
simply
stream
wait to be
ever.
eaten by the larvae of other insects like midges, mayflies, and mosquitoes.
What is that?
Crickets. After
They're
developing for
congregating.
several months, the worms kill their hosts and then escape through holes bored in the insect's zombie exoskeleton. Harsh, right? The parasites can grow and end up in a tangled knot as heavy as the oftentimes very much still alive host's useless body. And then the horsehair worms end up in puddles and water sources all over the lake. The good news is, it isn't interested in infecting or attacking humans. However, scientists could shed light on parasites that impact human health because parasites can cause brain damage. Number 5. The red-backed
What?
spider. These little spider demons are
Black Widow,
extremely
right?
common in Australia. The worst spiders are. And yeah, red-backed spiders are found in your house or at work, stalking you in the drain at a public washroom. They can bite and must be treated with the utmost caution, cause it can kill you. Venom accumulates and passes through the spider's two hollow fangs. It contains a complex mixture of toxins which cause intense pain in humans, but they don't want any trouble. They rarely bite humans. They usually try to escape or feign death by curling its legs and dropping to the ground, playing dead.
Oh, so this
But
must
if
be
you
the
do
thing
get
that,
bitten by a
that
red-backed
bit
spider,
Venom
keep calm.
and turned him
Apply
into
ice packs to minimize pain and
evil
swelling.
Spider-Man.
Then seek medical aid. There's an anti-venom for this particularly gnarly spider bite. Adult females are jet black with a red stripe, whereas males are normally light brown with white markings. No red stripe, yet are found throughout Australia. So, it's great to be aware that they could be close whenever you are anywhere with an adequate food supply, shelter, and warm enough climate. For the most part, they're nocturnal. They use a web to capture prey, generally insects, other spiders, small reptiles, and even mammals. Number 4. Tongue-eating isopod. The tongue-eating isopod is a very specialized animal. Basically, a blood-sucking vampire with a preference for living on the tongues of their fish victims.
What?
There's literally no better way to explain it. There are 380 different species of this animal, most of which usually have a specific species of fish that they like.
So the
They
fish
actually
just
know how to
lets
tell
it
the
just
difference.
stay in his mouth?
Smart and totally savage. The female attaches to the tongue, and the male attaches on the gill arches beneath and behind the female, so it's a team effort. It kills the fish's tongue, causing the tongue to fall off. It then attaches itself and becomes the fish's new tongue. The
What?
inevitable end is fish death. Tongue-eating isopod prevents the fish from eating and leaches all of the remaining nutrients out of the fish's body. This particular form of existence between
Why you
two
just don't
animals
spit it
is
out?
ectoparasitic, meaning this is a parasite that lives off the animal, but not within
I
its
dare one of
digestive
these
system
things to
or
try
its
that with the
bloodstream.
Megalodon.
And believe it or not, this parasite was only discovered in 2014, which is extremely recent. Many other species were discovered and described 2 centuries ago, but haven't been since.
There's 2 of them in there?
Number 3, the Gila monster. This mean-looking reptile has one of the worst reputations in the reptile world, and we can see why. There are legends of the savage beast, such as spitting venom, leaping several feet in the air to attack, stinging with its tongue, and killing people with gusts of poisonous breath, most of which are untrue. However, its venom is made by
it's
a row of
Godzilla.
glands in the lizard's lower jaw, so the Gila monster bite can be horrific. They're very strong, and the lizard may not loosen its grip for several seconds. It may even chew so that the venom goes deeper into the wound. Small grooves in the teeth help the venom flow deep into its prey. Their breath, we're going to assume, is pretty awful. You can find these monsters above the Mexican border in southern, central, and western Arizona, much of the Grand Canyon state, and you might also find specimens in neighboring regions of California, Utah, Nevada, or even New Mexico. A frightened Gila monster will open its purple-gummed maw and hiss. It's a theatrical warning that clearly says, "Stand back." But some people don't get the message, and people do get bit. The Gila monster bite is painful to humans, but it rarely causes death. Number 2, the jeweled caterpillar. This slimy, gelatinous, semi-translucent little alien is sometimes referred to
Like a
as
little
the
gummy
jeweled
bear.
caterpillar, but it's actually the larvae of a fuzzy orange moth native to Central and South America. Some caterpillars use color to let their predators know their toxicity and therefore warn them to steer clear. But there's no evidence that these caterpillars are poisonous at all, except the most obvious one. Jeweled caterpillars are gooey with gumdrop-like spines that break off just like some lizards' tails break off when they're attacked. In an attempt to study this ability, researchers placed caterpillar larvae in the same environment as hangry ants and other insects, which would usually devour caterpillars.
So is that
When
hungry
most
and
stayed
angry?
away.
Hangry
I
ants?
guess the vibrant, gooey appearance does pay off. The ones that tried to attack became stuck in the caterpillar's jelly-like body, sticky and uncomfortable. There are at least 84 different species of moths in this family, and all of their larvae are so gooey that they're often nicknamed slug caterpillars. At the moment, it's unclear as to why they're so strangely and conspicuously colored, but it looks like it would be poisonous. Number 1, the bobbit worm. Found in warmer oceans around the world, this terrifying worm buries itself into sediment of the sea floor. its mouth exposed with its huge, scissor-like jaws open wide,
Yo, what the
plus 5 antennae protruding from its head that act like tripwires. If a fish should accidentally brush past one of the tripwires, it has mere milliseconds to flee. The bobbit worm's razor-sharp mouth parts strike so hard, the prey is sometimes sliced
Bruh,
clean in
what?
two. With violent tugs, the worm then drags the victim down into its lair, where it eats the fish
Its
alive.
lair?
They also use their sharp teeth
Now it's
to
an
chew
evil
through
scientist,
the coral
huh?
reef. If you're looking to observe the bobbit worm, they can typically be found in warmer Indo-Pacific waters. But never touch one of them. Their body is composed of many nerve-damaging bristles. They'll use these bristles to help them move around, but are also using them to deliver a painful sting. Just brushing up against a bobbit worm causes permanent nerve damage in humans, leaving that portion of your body feeling numb for the rest of your life. People of a certain age will remember the story of Lorena Bobbitt, who in 1993 made world news for taking a kitchen implement to her husband's, well, worm. He was abusive, and you should Google it. Those were 15 weird animals that
Wow.
will give you the chills, part
Do
2.
me a favor, hit
Thanks
that
for
like
watching.
button, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss a video. And let's hope we don't run across none of these animals. We out.